Everything is going to become a reality when the equity markets crash. The business of America is war. The business of China is business. The American empire is over. They destroyed it with wars. If we don't bring back freedom, peace, and justice, we're cooked.
Please join us for our next live stream Sunday, March 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll go over current events, past guests, and of course, gold and silver news. Once again, our next live stream will be Sunday, March 7th, 9 p.m. Eastern. See you then. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira. As always, if you are new to our channel or if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new updates, and give us a thumbs up if you like what we do. We truly do appreciate your support. Gerald Celente is our guest today. Gerald is the founder and director of the Trends Research Institute and publisher of the Trends Journal. He's developed a global-nomic methodology to identify, track, forecast, and manage trends, and is a political atheist, unencumbered by political dogma, rigid ideology, or conventional wisdom. Celente, whose motto is think for yourself, observes and analyzes current events, forming future trends for what they are and not for what he wants them to be. And we're delighted to have Gerald here as a return guest. It's time to saddle up and silver up for Gerald Celente. Gerald, welcome back to SBTV. How are you doing?
I'm doing, health-wise and life-wise, I'm doing fine. Emotionally, very sad is what's happened to the world and how a bunch of dictators have taken over and rule our lives without the people having any say and destroying the lives of hundreds of millions of people, their lives and livelihoods with this fighting the COVID war. So, and you get the magazine, the Trends Journal, and all we do is put the data in there. And the data shows that, this does not support the actions that they have taken that lack any scientific data at all to lock down nations. Why, I'm going to lock you down I say you're going to have a curfew from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Why, I say you're going to have one from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. And when you have to be 1 meter apart. Why, I say 1.3 meters apart. I mean, they're making this crap up. And again, the people that have died only by the data. Take Israel, for example. Everybody's bragging about Israel. 87% of the people, these are facts, hard facts. 87% of the people that have died in Israel are over 65 years of age. What kind of health are they in? 94% of the people that have died, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, have 2.6 pre-existing comorbidities. Canada, 80% of the people that have died are from nursing homes. So what the hell are you doing? After you get out of nursing home, you go to day camp? And you're closing down everything? And now you're forcing people to get vaccinated? Yeah. Israel, going back to Israel, you know who runs Israel, right? The Ashkenazi Jews. The Ashkenazis are from Eastern Europe. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, that whole area in there, right? So don't call me an anti-Semite. They're not Semites. Semites are down in Mesopotamia region. I'm mentioning this because their name, Ashkenazi. Now in Israel, you have to get a green pass. That's right. You have to get a green pass that you've been vaccinated. Now you could go to a restaurant. Now you could go to a gym. Now you could go to a concert. Now you could go to the theater. Ashkenazi, Hitler would have loved this one, boy, that Nazi. And now the parliament on Wednesday passed a law where anyone that hasn't been vaccinated, they will share that information of the people that have not been vaccinated with the other agencies so they could try to talk to people into getting vaccinated. How am I doing? That's how I'm doing. And in America, I'm in Kingston, New York. I'm right a little 15 minutes away from Woodstock. Oh, remember Woodstock, the place of the free? Yeah. They love Joe Biden over here. The liberals, the libtards. Oh, didn't Biden? They just bombed the hell out of Syria, right? Just killed a bunch of Iranian troops. Oh, that's all right. These are the anti-vaxxers over there in Woodstock, lining up to get vaccinated. Lining up to get vaccinated. So that's how I feel.
It's a tough time indeed, Joe, for sure. And it looks like things are even going to get tougher. I think unrecognizable at some point, probably in the very near future. You touched on unemployment. So, Joe, we're continuing to see unemployment numbers in the U.S. rise. In your view, what is it going to take to get people back to work and even to get that economy going again?
There's going to be a big bounce. They're dumping in all this cheap money. There's going to be an artificial bounce. And it'll be temporary because according to the Census, the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, the jobs won't come back until 2024. So that means, okay, the jobs will come back, but how about new ones being created? They're not going to be created. So jobs will come back, but new ones won't be created. There'll be a fake bounce, and it'll look like a boost. But it's fake because of all the cheap money that the country. Look at the debt levels. What are they pumping in now? $2 trillion. No, 1.9 trillion. Shove the 1.9. How about 2 trillion? They do this number, by the way, they do that purposely to make it look like it's lower than 2 trillion. 2 trillion. What are you kidding me? Where are you getting the money from? And by the way, gold prices keep going down. I mean, they keep taking a hit. And to me, it's like an insanity. How could gold prices go down? How could the markets go up? So there's no logic to anything. It's a rigged game. When I was a young guy, there were no such thing as hedge funds. There were no such thing as private equity groups. These are gamblers that have united to play the game in a very disgusting, manipulative way. Take, for example, let's go back to ancient history, 2020. And they found the JP Morgan Chase gang had to pay $900 million for rigging the precious metals market. $900 million, not $1 billion, 900. They would do these numbers, by the way, that's no money compared to what the destruction that they caused of the people that invested in those markets and lost and the money that they made. So the game is rigged.
We'll get to precious metals in just a bit. You mentioned how we're going to have a little bit of an economic bounce. And when I think of the word bounce, eventually things do stop bouncing. So let's say it stops bouncing and that ball eventually rolls over into China's court. How does this transition look like, or are we right now in this transition of economic power?
It's gone. It's one of our top trends for 2021. China 2021. Go back to 2020. China was the only nation with positive GDP growth. And now they're estimating this year they'll grow about 8%, 7 to 8%. And you look at the trade numbers. China and Europe are doing more trade together than China and the United States. Europe is doing more business with China than with the United States. China is doing more business with Europe than the United States. Look at the trade deficit between China and the United States. It's gone way up. So all of Trump's, trade war, bullshit. Nothing. The Americans and the Europeans sold out their nations. They gave them all of the manufacturing. China didn't have the manufacturing capability. And the deal's this. You could get it made in China, but you got to manufacture it in China. You got to manufacture it there, but you have to be partners with one of our companies, and you can only own 49%. You look at China's gross domestic product before they got into the World Trade Organization. It's like this. 2001, phew, straight line up. As America's goes down, it's the Chinese century. The business of America, scumbag, lowlife, piece of garbage, crap, murderous bastard. Joe Biden just bombed Syria. He's just in the White House for a month. That bastard has never war that son of a bitch didn't love. He voted for every war. The business of America is war. The business of China is business. While America wastes trillions and trillions of dollars with their military defense that haven't won a war since World War II, can't even win in Iraq, 20 years in Afghanistan, China's doing business. China's doing business. China's doing business. You look at what happened with the nation going down in 2020. Biggest defense budget. Rather than putting that money, what did China do? Infrastructure building. Hey, you see America's infrastructure? You like what happened in Texas when the whole place froze over and all the electricity went down? That's America's infrastructure. So the 21st century is the Chinese century. We're even wearing the masks.
I mean, of course, with this move, the shift of economic power from west to east, Gerald, what's going to happen with the U.S. dollar and for all the people in the U.S. who use the U.S. dollar as the world moves more towards China and Chinese business?
It's going to go the same way as the British pound did in the early 1900s. Just as the British pound, again, the people say to me, I like listening to Celente, but he gets angry. He should be more proper like we are, the British. We're so proper. The world, the sun has never set on the British Empire as we've taken over countries, murdered hundreds of millions of people. All right. So they got into all these wars and they destroyed their country. So when World War I ended, it was the end of the British Empire. The same thing is happening with America. The American Empire is over. They destroyed it with wars, just like the British did. Look what's going on in Myanmar now. All the youth revolution, big one. All young people. Thailand, young people. One country after another, young people, because it's a youth revolution. They have no future to look at. So going back to Thailand, Myanmar, Burma under the British, you only had it from 1824 to about 1948.
Speaking of young people, if you were 25 years old today and seeing what you are seeing today, what would a younger Gerald Celente be doing, or how would he be reacting to what he's seeing today?
I'd be nuts. I was nuts. Are you kidding? I was out of my 25 years old. Oh my God, the stuff that I pulled in my life. I'm a young guy, born in the Bronx, Napolitano, born in the Bronx, born to be free. And they could not, I grew up at the perfect time, 1946, I'm born, right after the war. America's booming. We had the sexual revolution, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There's wild times. And now being locked up, no hugging, no kissing, no dancing, no singing. I am in charge. I'm your little dictator of whoever. All right? I'd be going out of my mind if I was that age. You're growing up. You're just learning about life. And now they got some old farts telling you what to do. These tight old farts. Again, in America, 177 people under the age of 20 have died of the virus in a year. Out of 20 million people in that age category. What the hell are you telling me this crap for? 177 million? I mean, 107, 170, it's either 117, it's in the Trends Journal, 177, 117 out of 20 million people, 1 to 20 years old, died. Oh, and obesity, America, the land of the obese, only 42% of Americans are obese. No, excuse me, 40%, 72% are overweight. So people that are dying from this are from type 2 diabetes, obesity, respiratory ailments. Healthy people aren't dying from this. It's a virus.
Yeah, let's transition over to what's happening right now, where we're seeing lots of news coming from the markets, in particular bond yields. And we've seen a slow, steady rise in these bond yields, and equity markets, they simply do not like watching these rising bond yields. Why do we see these bond yields rising, and what is it signaling?
Inflation. Look at copper prices. Check out lumber prices. Go up down the list. Go up and down the list of commodity prices. Oh, what's oil selling for now? Around $65 a barrel. What was it a year ago? In the 40s? Inflation. You know, housing prices, for example, last month in America, up 10%. Do you know housing prices aren't added into the consumer price index? Do you know why? Because we got low-life son of a bitches. I got to be equals, and daughters of bastards. You got to be equal today. That they don't put those numbers in. Inflation numbers are cooked so that they don't have to pay people Social Security, because your Social Security numbers go up as inflation. You get, the higher inflation goes, the more benefits you get. So rather than you paying all these taxes all these years, they try to screw you out of everything so the politicians can make more money and don't have to work. So the inflation numbers are totally cooked. The person that I go to is John Williams at Shadow Stats. He has the real numbers. And when you're looking at inflation in America, you're looking at 20, 30% numbers. And where I am in Kingston, New York, we're 90 miles north of New York City, according to Bloomberg, of all of the 181 cities in America, the prices have gone up here the most, 18%. They're flooding out of New York. New York City is dead, 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 dead. Two little slime balls, two little pieces of crap. De Blasio, the mayor in New York, and he's not a de Blasio. His real name is Wilhelm. That's his father's name. He used a de Blasio because you got a lot of Italians in New York, and I'll vote for an Italian. And Cuomo, little daddy's boy, the governor over here. And I call him a daddy's boy because he'd be a nobody if his daddy wasn't Mario Cuomo. These arrogant crap heads. It's all like that. But anyway, Trudeau over there in Canada, another piece of crap. Daddy was Trudeau before him. They would be nowhere. It's one big club and you ain't in it, as George Carlin said. They destroyed New York. They destroyed New York. Dead. Broadway, no neon lights shining on Broadway. Times Square, dead. Dead. Do you know the people have lives that have been ruined? The businesses. Do you know what the office occupancy rate in New York City? 14%. Subways, you go on a subway, yeah. Maybe you get pushed into the tracks. You get harassed by homeless. Yeah. Dead. Why? How do I feel? As a New Yorker, I'm heartbroken. Heartbroken. They're flooding out. They're flooding out. Commercial real estate, finito. They built this thing, Hudson Yards. Ugly piece of shit on the Hudson River side. Blocks everything. Ugly as can be. $35 billion. They just finished it about 2 years ago. Empty. 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 Empty.
Hard to imagine. Sad to imagine, Jared. We can feel everything that you're saying. I got to move over to gold and silver though, where your forecast remains you seeing silver spiking above $50 an ounce. And what do you see to make that forecast? And is $50 the number you are looking at, or perhaps even higher?
Oh, higher. I think it'll break over. Two reasons for silver, a couple of reasons. Number one, there's no better electricity conductor than silver. It's the best. So you have it in all your iPads, everything. You got it in every phones. After you throw it out, after it breaks, there's no stockpiles of silver. It just goes into the ground. The silver is being used more and more, both in the high-tech world and in the new world of new energy, solar paneling, on and on and on. It has great use for manufacturing. And the ratio of gold to silver is way out of proportion. Yeah. It's usually around 17-1. And now it's like now gold going down by the 80-1. So it's way out of proportion. And it's a precious metal. And the value of currencies are going to continue to decline. They can't keep printing up all this cheap money. Inflation's going to go up, and precious metals are still the very, very top for safe haven assets. Yeah. Everything is going to become a reality when the equity markets crash. Think about it. India, equity markets booming, 3-year high. The British pound at a 3-year high. They just had the worst GDP growth in 3 centuries. What am I missing here? India? India was going down big time before this happened. In 2019, they had 7 consecutive quarters of declining GDP growth. And their markets are booming. The markets of, as your people who listen to you all know, the markets are artificially propped up.
Yeah.
And so they're going to crash. When the markets crash, reality is going to hit Main Street.
Joe, I guess sort of keeping in line with this gold-silver ratio, your forecast of $50 silver and 2,100 gold, do you expect these two metals to sort of move in tandem to reach their all-time highs sort of at around the same time? And I'm asking this because we saw gold hit its all-time high last year, and silver was just above 50% of its all-time high.
Now, I think silver is going to rise at a higher percentage point than gold. That's what we're saying. Silver prices are going to have a higher spike percentage-wise. As far as gold, central banks are still buying it. They're going to keep buying it. And now it's taken a big hit. I would not have thought it's gone down this low.
Yeah.
And when I say that, it's because I bought it too as well. I bought it. I think I buy for to put away at 1859, and now we're talking like in the 17s. So I'm. It's not like I'm saying stuff that I believe in it, and that's why I do it. But I would have never thought it would have gone down this low.
Yeah, no, same here. I bought and it went down as well. But Joe, something I got from your Trends journal, Gary Gensler, a familiar name, should be a familiar name. He was the chairman of the CFTC Commodities Futures Trading Commission from 2009 to 2014. And during his tenure in 2010, there was a hearing where JP Morgan was allegedly manipulating the silver price. CFTC basically didn't do all that much. And today, Gensler's name pops up again. And he is going to be nominated as head of the SEC. So I was curious, what do you make of Gary Gensler being there in one administration with the CFTC, and now he's in another administration, or possibly with the SEC?
It's a rigged game. As I said, it's one big club, and you ain't in it. And he was with the Biden administration is just it's Obama administration 2.0. That's all. Same people, bringing the same slimy crap, low-life pieces of garbage that run America's political system. Both sides. I call them the dumbo craps and the repulsivekins. They're disgusting human beings. And by the way, I say all this from a guy that's been there. I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate. At a graduate school, I was the number 2 guy running the mayoral campaign in Yonkers, New York, which is a city of about 300,000 people. Then I worked on campaigns in Westchester County, which is the richest county in America. That's why they sent me to Albany. They were grooming me. And it was the worst job I ever had in my life, to watch grown men grovel and suck their way up to the top. I quit in 1 year. Nobody could believe I quit. From there, I went on to teach American politics and campaign technology, a course I designed at St. John's University. I became a government affairs specialist for the chemical industry. I was killing environmental legislation at the height of the environmental movement back in the 1970s, when this thing was taking off big time. Staying at the Willard Hotel and putting my meetings on the Hay Adams at 28 years old. I became the number 2 guy running a major trade association. I quit because I was starting to grow up and learning about what in life is going on. So I started to grow up in my 30s and I quit. But I wouldn't know what I know if I wasn't on the other side. Let me show you something. Hold on.
Sure.
Here, this is me. And I say Martinelli, that was the campaign I worked on. Could you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
And that was my former wife. May she rest in peace.
Oh.
And that's love bloomed on the campaign trail. Big story in the papers, right? This is a city of 300,000 people. That was the beginning. There's me. I told you, I was number 2 guy running a trade association. There's me with Ronald Reagan. And I picked him up at the Chicago Hilton in those days. This is 2 days before he's announcing he's running for president against Jerry Ford. I was with him for an hour and a half, put on a brunch with him and my board of directors.
Yeah,
I've been with princes, prime ministers, presidents. I wouldn't know what I know if I wasn't on the other side. Did you ever hear of John Connolly?
Yeah.
The guy that took the bullet in the back, sitting in front of Kennedy, in front of the book depository in Dallas. Could you see that?
Yeah, there you are again.
That's me, him, and his wife in front of the book depository. His first time back since the assassination. We're parked outside in a limousine. That's the side of the building. And him telling what happened that day.
Yeah, I'm sure he must have told you some things that maybe never got out where the rest of the public ever heard of.
Yeah. So I've been there.
Yeah.
So the reason I express myself in the way I do, I'm a visionary. I have best-selling books, Trends 2000, Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine. I've been publishing a magazine, the Trends Journal, since 1991. I'll put my track record up against anybody. Show me what you've done and we can begin to talk. I see the future, and it's hell on earth if we don't change it. If we don't bring back freedom, peace, and justice, we're cooked.
Yeah. Gerald,
That's why I'm like I am and feel the way I do.
yeah, you've I appreciate the candor and the color that you've given here. And I got to ask this question though. What do you think is going to be America's let them eat cake moment?
The young people's revolution. When the young people unite, because the old people have had it, they're gone. And again, they're dead. My generation, I get a high school newsletter. I could care less. And they still haven't gotten out of high school. I got one yesterday, and they all bragged about how they got their vaccinations. So when the young people unite, and there's going to be an anti-tax, anti-vax, anti-immigration movement. When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. And the young people have lost it. They have no future. They have no future. Again, you asked me earlier, what would I be? 25 years old, I'd be going nuts. I'd be going nuts.
Okay.
I grew up at a time, I can show you the picture of my wife. Well, we were young. We were like, I got married. I was 26.
Oh, she's beautiful. Beautiful picture of her.
Yeah. And this is what our nights used to be on the weekends. We're both Italian. We used to love to cook, make a great dinner on Saturday. Then we'd watch MASH, All in the Family, take a nap, then watch Saturday Night Live that came on at 11 o'clock, 11:30, went off at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we'd go out. We'd go out at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's what life used to be.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. I was just a small fry, but my parents were watching MASH and All in the Family, and I'd have to sneak and stay up late to watch that Saturday Night Live. So, I hear you. I hear. Gerald Celente, before we wrap up, can you let our viewers know more about you and how they can find your work and, of course, the Trends Journal?
Oh, the Trends Journal, just go to trendsjournal.com. And people want to know what the future is going to bring. There was just an article in Financial Times about Lachlan Murdoch, the Murdoch's son, talking about Fox News because they lost viewership because they weren't pro-Trump. And he said that we're staying center right. This is his words, center right. Center right? How about don't call yourself a news organization. You're playing to a market. You go the other ones that center left, center right. How about center nothing? How about just information that you could use and trends forecasting so that you could plan for the future? How about something like that? No, we won't do that. We're playing to an audience. So the Trends Journal is the only magazine in the world that tells you what's going on, what it means, what's next, and how to prepare, plan, and prosper. Because people better get hip to the future and see what's going to go up, what's going to go down, and how they can protect their lives and livelihoods. And then we give every ounce of energy that we have. What is the last magazine? What, 140 this week's? It's a weekly.
Yeah,
a weekly.
Yeah.
It was 140 something pages last week.
Yeah.
You read what you want. You don't have to read the whole thing. You read the things of interest to you. But we're giving every ounce of energy we have to put out the best magazine in the world.
Gerald, we thank you for your time once again, and we wish you all the best and all the best that peace has to offer.
As to you as well. Thank you so much.
That was Gerald Celente from trendsresearch.com. To learn more about Gerald's views, please visit his website, trendsresearch.com. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the SBTV channel. And do also find us on SBTV iTunes and SBTV Spotify.